Rita Cosby in for Nancy Grace. Breaking news tonight out of Tennessee. A mother who claims her 9-month-old baby goes missing after she gives her own baby to a stranger. Well, she has just been arrested.
9-month-old Lauryn Dickens
Missing.
Her mom is locked up. 19-year-old Lauryn Dickens. Police say she's being detained. Claims she gave her baby to a total stranger more than a week before she reported little Lauryn missing.
Has not been officially charged with a crime.
The crime scene technician removed a number of paper sacks and baby toys from the apartment. The police cadaver dog hit on a scent.
What kind of a mother gives her baby away to a stranger?
Clearly, when the detectives went and spoke with her, they didn't believe her story.
We saw the dog enter the apartment after police made entry and heard the dog bark at least 2 or 3 times, which means that they did detect some sort of scent.
And let's go to the latest to Jason Miles. He's the CNN reporter at WMC at the jail. Jason, fill us in on the case.
Rita, I can tell you tonight that I've just heard that Shakara Dickens may be transferred as we speak to the women's jail facility here in the Memphis area. She's been here at what we call the Criminal Justice Center all day talking presumably to detectives about this case who are still focused on finding her missing 9-month-old child. Police put this press release out earlier today insisting this continues to be classified as a missing persons case. They put in all caps. At this point in the investigation, no charges have been filed. You mentioned the 19-year-old mother was taken into custody, arrested, booked into the jail here, but so far no charges have been filed. The charge on which she is being held is aggravated child abuse. It's what's called a 48-hour hold, meaning police have 48 hours to charge her or set her free. Rita?
Let's go to Nicole Pardon, our investigative reporter with the show, who is also in Nashville. Nicole, last night, and we were live on the show, I remember we had great items that were being taken from the apartment. Can you tell us what they seized from this woman's apartment?
Good evening, Rita. It's great to be with you again. Yes, yesterday, police, investigators, homicide detectives, cadaver dogs combed the apartment where 9-month-old baby Lauryn lived before her mother supposedly gave her away to a stranger. Items were removed, such as the high chair, the walker, the car seat, brown paper bags filled with items. Neighbors are saying they saw police and investigators carry out toys and belongings of this little 9-month-old baby. There was no body discovered, but yet those crime scene investigators were there. They had the cadaver dogs there, and then shortly thereafter, around 4 minutes after 6 last evening, the mother was booked. She now is in jail, as we've been told. She's there being questioned on this aggravated child abuse charge. Very serious charge in the state of Tennessee. This is a Class A felony in our state, and due to the age of the child, this alone carries a sentence of somewhere between 15 and 60 years, just if she's found guilty of the aggravated child abuse.
So it's something significant. So is the sense there, Nicole, they're trying to squeeze her?
I do think so. I believe that the pressure's on. They've gone in. They've obviously collected a lot of evidence, and it was after that evidence was collected, after the detectives spent most of the afternoon there, that she was arrested.
Let's go to Steve Cardian. He's a former police detective, also self-defense expert. You know, Steve, when you hear this, and we heard the items that Nicole was talking about, you know, bringing out the baby seat, the walker, bags, brown bags being carried out. What does all this say to you? What are they looking for?
Yeah, Rita, they're looking for DNA evidence, hair and fiber evidence, anything to indicate that there may have been something done to that child that would show up in forensic testing. And that coupled with the dog giving a positive indication that there was a cadaver scent in there, it's a good indication that they likely have information that they have that they're holding very close to the vest, thus the reason that she's being held and charged.
Let's go to Dan Horowitz, defense attorney, my dear old friend. Great to have you with us, Dan. You know, you know this stuff so well. You know cadaver dogs. You know sort of these typical cases. How accurate are cadaver dogs? Are they able to detect it's a dead person versus a living person, Dan?
Well, in the general sense, yes, Rita, but I'm not so enthused with them as many people are. I think that if there's a dead body in rubble, they're great. But if a body has just been dragged through, like in the Peterson case, I don't see how the dogs are very reliable in picking up very faint scents You know, I think about, what does a cadaver dog do in a cemetery? Does it go to the freshest grave, or grave so old that it sees nothing? Same thing in this case, and particularly in the child's home. I think it's not going to reveal much.
You know, Sue Moss, attorney, I got to ask you about this. They smelled something unusual in the apartment. That's according to neighbors. The neighbor said it smelled, it stunk, there was some foul odor, and when they asked what was it, he said it smelled like something was dead inside.
Oh, absolutely. The defense of Dickens is slim pickings. What's her excuse? That Zenaida Gonzalez was no stranger? Didn't she learn anything from this show? The fact that there was the scent of death that was found by these dogs is going to be devastating. She's certainly not going to get out of jail after she is charged with this felony child abuse. She's going along to jail for a very long time.
Yeah, they're clearly trying to squeeze her. They're trying to get her in there for something and hope that she's going to crack on something else if that's the case. Let's go to Alex Sanchez, defense attorney. Alex, you know, we're also hearing she gave conflicting stories. Your child is missing and you can't keep your story straight?
Yeah, giving inconsistent stories is always a problem for the defense.
Yeah, I would say it's a huge problem.
If they go to trial later on, the prosecution is going to say, wait a minute, you said one thing at one point and said something else at another point. But, Rita, I think the authorities are giving conflicting information. Either she's charged with a crime or she's not charged with a crime. Because in this country, you just can't hold and detain somebody. This isn't, you know, this is not Afghanistan or another country where you can just hold somebody. She must have some type of criminal offense against her that she's been charged with.
First of all, she didn't report her child missing for 8 days. I understand the law, but don't you kind of zero in? Clearly, cops were onto her from day one. You wait 8 days, you give your baby to a stranger?
Fine. She may have done something wrong, but they have to charge her in order to continue holding her. And from what I'm hearing, they haven't charged her with anything. So what's the legal grounds to keep her in jail?
Yeah, they had to have something that they're justifying. They also had to have something to justify the search warrant, too. Nicole, do we know what they used to justify the search warrant going in and what they had to sort of base that they're holding her on?
All we know, according to the police authority there in Memphis, is that she has not been charged. They keep stressing that to us. But she is being held for questioning, and they keep going back to this aggravated child abuse investigation. And they're basing this on the fact that her child was missing for 8 days. Then she calls authorities and says, I've given my child away. And therefore, you know, according to the state code of our law for this charge, she has endangered her child by misplacing or giving the child away or losing the child for these 8 days.
Very interesting. Let's go to Jason Miles, who's right there on the scene at the jail. He's a CNN reporter with WMC. I understand there's some big new development just happened.
Forgive me if I'm winded, Rita, but we saw Shakara Dickens being led out of 201 Poplar, as we call it here, the Criminal Justice Center behind me, by some detectives. She was put into a squad car. I asked her some questions as she was being cuffed and stuffed, if you will. She answered none of them, like, where is Lauryn? Did you have anything to do with her disappearance? Is there any foul play, Shakara? She answered no question.
Clearly, the conversations that she had with the police have alerted them to the fact that this whole story is bogus. They don't believe anything. The cadaver doors are an indication of that.